And I tell you, that coffee is much needed this morning. We've been out here in the tent now this is day 2 actually. I got here a couple days ago. Me and my friend Gary, who you might be hearing cutting some wood out there, getting our morning fire going. But we got here a couple days ago, got set up, and we had pretty good weather then. It's sunny. There had been a little bit of a snowstorm in the morning, but it cleared up and was sunny, and it's real pretty. It's nice to set the tent up on a nice day. Today it's raining, and it started raining through the night. And I developed a little bit of an issue that I found with the tent that I'm going to have to figure out how to work around. Got a bit of a puddle on the floor this morning. And we're having a little bit of an issue with the wood stove, so I'm actually trying to get it to burn out. Working on getting it to burn out. I don't got it stoked up. That's why we're wearing our jacket. It's still actually pretty warm because it's raining. It's not that cold. The lantern is providing enough heat to pretty much keep it warm in here, or comfortable in here. But I believe the stove is having an issue. I think the stovepipe is clogged up somewhere. It's just not burning, and a lot of times when I do fill it up and put wood in, a lot of smoke just is billowing out the front. So we're gonna work on trying to get that completely burned out and cooled down today, and see if we can take the pipe apart and see if there is a clog somewhere. I'm either expecting that there's a clog somewhere in the pipe, or there's a clog somewhere in the baffle, like the baffle area of the stove has gotten clogged up as well. Yeah, last night wasn't really a great sleep, kind of smoked out in here a little bit, and then I got up to go to the bathroom at one point and stepped in a big puddle of water. Not starting the day off the best. Hey folks, if you're a longtime follower of the channel, you know I like to get my old snowman out for the holiday season. He's a little bit ragged and he's almost as old as I am, but he does add a lot of nice holiday cheer around camp. I like to keep him and other devices that I have powered up with my Jackery 2000. Jackery is having some sales for the holidays, and they want you to know that they're not only good for emergency preparedness, van camping, tent camping like I'm doing now, but you can also use them to make your holidays a little bit more festive. So if you guys are looking for a power product for your outdoor adventures or your emergency preparedness, or just to have something to light up your holidays, be sure to check out my description below. All right, so I think where my problem is, where my water is entering into the tent, is right down here along the skirt. So there's 2 floors you can get with the tent. There's a nylon floor that zips in, and then there's an insulated floor where you can take the nylon floor out and then put an insulated floor down, or you could probably keep the nylon floor in as well. You could probably have both. And maybe that is what I need to do, is put the insulated floor and then leave the nylon floor in, because what's happening is water is coming down the skirt or the side of the tent, catching on the skirt and then getting onto the floor and then coming back feeding into the tent. That might have been the deal, is I might want to keep that nylon floor zipped in so that I don't get water back in there. But we'll have to figure out some solution for that today, because I'm not going to tear everything out, put the nylon floor back in. All right, well, I think we got that all resolved. So what I did is I basically unstaked everything here in the front where all the water was coming in, pulled the floor back and just rolled it over, and then re-staked it back out. And I added one more stake here to the center so that way the water would definitely roll right off. But now if any water back feeds back in, the floor is rolled over, so it should go under the floor instead of over the floor. Alright Gary, let's try to make use of these coals I'm taking out of my stove and see if we can get ourselves a fire going.
Beautiful. I already made the little kindling.
I may have some more, but maybe that'll get you started.
Get your tent dried out for the most part.
Yeah, I got the core of the water out of there, and I think I've come up with a solution for the rest of this trip. But like I said, I think the key is going to be to leave the nylon floor in, and then you put the insulated floor down, but leave the nylon floor.
Yeah.
Which I was thinking it was kind of one or the other that you would want to be using, but now that I've seen what happens and I'm thinking it through,
Yeah.
you know, realizing, well, maybe that nylon floor should stay in there.
Yeah.
But, you know, thinking about it is that insulated floor has a hatch for ice fishermen, and the nylon floor does not.
Oh.
So, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know what the
Yeah.
correct answer is.
Oh yeah.
Well, Gary, I appreciate you making breakfast, especially since my mode of cooking is kind of down at the moment.
Yeah. There's a plate for you.
Well, guys, Gary was kind enough to cook me some breakfast this morning because I've been doing all my cooking on this wood stove inside the tent, and I didn't really bring anything to cook meals on. I did bring the jet boil to boil water fast for coffee in the morning, but for doing a meal like this, I was relying completely on the wood stove. But he made us some breakfast burritos. Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome. Delicious.
Mm-hmm. Alright, well, I think I found the big problem with my stove. So I pulled all the pipe pieces off and I've looked through them, and they all have a little bit of creosote built up on the inner wall of the pipe. But where I'm seeing the big clog is right here at the base of this, or the top of the stove. There's a baffle inside here so that the flames can't go straight up the pipe, but that baffle is just clogged. I mean, there is no room for air to get through there almost at all. It's I'm not even sure how I'm going to clean it out. Alright, so I think I've gotten this baffle as clean as I can get it. Unfortunately, since it's not removable, I can't get a tool in there to really make sure that it's as clean as I would like it to be. I think an upgrade for this stove would be nice is if they made that baffle removable, because I think this is going to be a continued problem. There's only about a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 of an inch of space between the top of the baffle and the top of the stove. So I see this as being a continuing problem. Another big problem I have had with this stove is with this door. If you slide the door all the way on and then get this stove good and hot, you will not get that door off. It the metal expands and it's locked on there. And I've had a few times where I've had to actually use the end of my hatchet to pry the door off. What I am doing for this trip is I bought a fluting tool and I fluted the outside edge of the door, and that helped a lot, but you still can only shove this thing on about halfway at max, or else it'll get locked on there once it heats up. So that's another big problem. You know, the reality is I would really like to love this stove because there's a lot of things that I really do like about it. I think it's just a good looking design. I love having a big cooking space. Having the windows are a nice touch, and it does heat the tent really well. But between this problem here, not being able to take this baffle out, and the door, I'm not sure it's a great stove or the best option. Another thing I noticed last time I had used it is that these pipes get really clogged up. Now I think that's just a maintenance thing, but I think the company should provide a little chimney brush along with the stove so that way you can clean these out after each use.
Standard method's gonna
Keep them dry, get drier quicker.
Yeah.
Well, we've been kind of striking out on the wood gathering. Everything we've been getting over the past couple of days has been pretty wet. So luckily, I had a few of these bags of firewood that I bought last week when I was going to camp in the van and have a fire. I never used them, so we're using them here on this trip, and we're just kind of supplementing this drier wood with the wet wood, and it seems to be working pretty well. We just get the fire going good and hot, and then we stack the wet wood around it, and that kind of keeps things going good and hot for us and keeping us warm in the evenings. Good time, Gary.
Love to go camping, go to work. Yeah. Love it.
Well, I mean, you're retired now, so
Yeah.
I mean, getting out to do a little work is like vacation now,
Refreshing.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's vacation.
It's the opposite. Well, I'm just taking a moment to relax. Just got done eating dinner, and we've got the stove fired back up, and it seems to be working okay. So that's good. Plenty warm in here, though it's not really that cold outside. I mean, you can even tolerate being outside in a t-shirt right now. It's so warm. We should have a blanket of snow out there by now. Not wet ground. We did get Snowman out, but again, Snowman should be sitting in snow, not sitting on some wet dirt. I'm not going to lie, today wasn't really that fun. Tent wet floor, gear wet, stove smoked me out last night, didn't sleep well. If it wasn't for Gary being here, keeping me entertained, probably would have packed up, to be honest. I definitely got to give it to Gary. I hope I have half the amount of energy that guy has when I'm 70 years old. He is a great campmate. I enjoy his company. And speaking of being a good campmate, he's got a good fire out there. So I think we're going to wrap this thing up and go sit by it.